today we are going to make a Cupid Gnome. This one's going to be sewing and some hot gluing. I'm going to make another one that we're going to try to do all hot glue. So that one will be coming up next, but this one is going to be some sewing involved in this one. And he has got shoes, he's got his little quiver, and I made another one that I'm going to use on the one we're going to make today. And I made his arrows from some wooden skewers and made his bow and everything. So I'm going to show you how I did everything. And his wings were from the angel gnome that I used. So I will link that below. So let's get started. We'll put these guys aside, and I will link below for how to do the body. It's kind of the same way I did it on my Mr. Moose and some other videos. So I will link a video below on how to do this. So how you're gonna do it is you're gonna have your pattern, and I don't know what I did with it. It's gonna be linked. I'm gonna do a PDF, free PDF pattern. So it's like this long pyramid is what it looks like. And you're gonna cut your pattern out. You're gonna sew your side seams from the top to the bottom. This is the bottom, the wider is the bottom. You're gonna leave that open, and you're gonna leave this open. You're gonna back stitch here and here. And then when you get done with that, there'll be the bottom. And then you're gonna pin the bottom on like that. You're gonna want to pin the bottom like this. So you can either put your pins facing in like that or do them the other way. If you do them the other way, you're gonna have to take them out before you get to that pin. So it's gonna be like this, and I will link either I'll insert how to sew this, or I will link a video below. So then you're gonna sew that. So you've sewed your sides, you pin your bottom part in, which is a circle, and you pin it in, and then you're going to sew it, and that is going to be the body for your gnome. So what we're going to have to do for our shoes is we can't just put our rice in here, because if I'm just going to glue the shoes to the bottom, this is going to pull away. And that's what I did the first time. And I had to make a slit in the side here and squeeze some glue in there. So it was because his shoes would pull away from the bottom. And then I just covered it over. This one's going to be mine, so I'm not selling it that way. So the other one I did a little differently, but now this one, I'm going to do the shoes. We're still going to have the same shoes, but it's going to be a little different. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to take 2 pieces of cardboard, and you're going to glue those together. So that we have a nice firm base for the gnome. And you're gonna glue those together. If they're not even, you can trim them. So like the bottom one is a little bigger, so I'm just gonna trim it so that they're both kind of the same. And we're gonna glue that to the inside bottom of the body. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take and we're gonna put glue on the cardboard. And you're going to get a good all over, especially in the middle where his shoes are going to go. And you're going to put your hand in the sock, in the body. You have it, this is the wrong side. And you can see where we're going to glue it, right to the bottom. And you got your hand in there, and you're going to press it and try to, so everything is nice and smooth, okay? And now we're going to turn that flip it. You're going to try to hang on to that cardboard and flip that just like that. So there's our bottoms. Now when we glue our shoes on here, it's going to stay. And I'm just going to check it, see if my edges need. Okay, so before you turn it, check your edges and maybe glue your edges a little bit more. So we have it nice and secure. And you can do the way I normally do my gnome bodies, like the way I did my angel gnome body. You can do it that way, where I use a sock and then I cover the sock with the material, with the fleece. So now we're going to put some rice in, and then we're going to stuff it nice and firm. I don't want them fat, so you can put a decent amount of rice in. And there, I know there's a lot of controversy on the rice. I have not had any problems. I have cut open gnomes that I have made probably 4 years ago, and that I was going to throw away, and I thought I might as well see if it has bugs. It didn't have any bugs. So now we're going to get our stuffing. And I buy my stuffing from Walmart in a big 50-ounce bag. And I want his body nice and slender, just like that, okay? I don't want a big old fat gnome. I want a nice one. I'm going to try to see if I can get a video. Kind of got it started, a girlfriend for him. I have to think of a name for him though. I was looking up Cupid names and some of them I couldn't even pronounce. So if anybody has a good Cupid name for him, let me know. Leave it in the description box. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to join and click on that subscribe button. And when you click on the notification bell, that will notify you each time I upload a new video. And you just want to make sure that it's all nice and smooth. You don't have any big old lumps or anything. And if you already have subscribed to my channel, thank you for joining my crafting community and subscribing. So there we go. There's his body. And now we're going to make his nose. And I'm going to do a video on different noses for gnomes. I'm going to do one for arms and hands. I'm going to do another video for bodies. And I'm going to do another video for shoes and legs probably. So I'm kind of working on all of that. So now you're going to take and you're going to get a fairly long piece of crochet thread, and it's pretty long. And then I get my fabric at Joann's. It's a knit jet set. And you're going to get some stuffing. And you're going to put, I like find the right side is facing down, and I put it over my hand like this, and I'm going to stuff it and then start grabbing onto it with my finger and my thumb and my hand. And just poke it in that little pocket, just like that. Make sure all your edges are pulled up because we're going to tie that off. And if it's too big of a nose, then you can just take a little bit of stuffing out. If you want a smaller nose, then don't stuff it as much. So you have control over that. So now you're going to take and you're going to grab it like this, put your thread over so it's down like this, and you're going to wrap one end around, and you're going to pull both ends so you can tighten up that string, and then take one side and wrap it around about 2 or 3 times and pull both of them, and then you can let it sit there, and you just kind of locked everything in place and it won't pop open on you. And then tie a couple of knots And don't cut your string off, leave it on, because we're going to use that to tie around the body. You can, if you wanted to cut it off, if you wanted to glue it on, then you would just cut it and have it look like that. But when I do my noses, I have one that is sewing that you can make. And if you had where you weren't going to have a hat, or you weren't, the string would show, I'll show you how to do a nose that you can sew. And you can make it any size. So I will show you that. And hopefully I will try to get those out this week. I've kind of already started on them. So now you're going to take your thread and bring it over your nose. Take all these ends and hang on to them and cut about 1/4 inch from that string. And now you're going to tie this on and figure out where you're going to have his. I usually go about 3/4 of the way up, and we're going to wrap this around and then pull this the thread, so you're kind of tightening it, and then do our surgeon's knot, which is 3 loops. And I know I've got everything white on white here, but it's just 3 loops over, and then you pull it, and then I do a regular knot and then cut that thread off. You can save these because I usually use them if I use them around the wrist or whatever. So we're going to take some stuffing out of his head because his head looks like it's kind of exploding. And then we'll get his beard. We can put his beard on. So I've got 2 different sizes. I got one that's a little longer. Maybe they're both about the same. And when you cut your fur, you're going to cut just the backing. You don't want to cut all the way through, and I always use small scissors. Okay, we're going to use this one, and then we're going to glue right underneath. You're going to cut a U shape out like that, and then you're going to kind of pick up his nose. And my thread just got really loose, so I got to see if I can tie this tighter, because I don't want his nose that loose. So we're going to try to fix it. And I'm going to be able to wrap it around. I'll just have to tie it on the side, and it'll be hidden by his hat. So just be careful pulling on your nose. If you pull on it too much, you might pull it right off the string. Okay. Make sure it's centered in between your seams. And then I probably got to put more glue on. Lift your nose up and tuck it underneath there. Make sure the gathers of the nose are underneath the beard. And then glue these tabs right up next side, right up alongside the nose. Make sure your glue gun doesn't drip on your nose, or you got to take it off and redo it. Okay, so there's that. Let's go over his hat, and then we'll do his arms. So I'm just going to tell you how I sewed this. You're going to cut the fabric I got, and I have the name of it. I got it at Joann's. Is the silver, and it does have some glitter. It's not horrible as far as leaving the glitter all over. It's called Super Shine Metallic Silver, and it is $19.99 a yard. So if you can get it on sale, and then if you, I mean, you're probably not going to need a whole yard unless you're going to make a bunch of these. But if it's not on sale and you have a 50% off coupon, you can use that. So what you're going to do is you're going to have, with the pink, it doesn't matter because the pink is going to be inside if you've got 2 right sides together or whatever, but you're going to sew, you're going to just put them together. So this metallic fabric is going to be face down, wrong side up. and you're going to sew right here at the edge of the hat. This is the top. And then you're going to take it and open it up. And then you're going to try to grab this seam and get that pressed so those two kind of line up. And we'll go over when I do the no-sew, we will go over how to glue it, because I did practice gluing this and the fabric wasn't too bad. It actually was good. So now you want to do that. We're not going to top stitch this, because if I did, he would have stitching running through his eyes, okay? And I don't want that. So now that you have this, so if you want the silver as the outside of the hat, you're going to sew with the right side together of the silver. And you would fold it and sew from this corner up to here till you get a peak. If you want it a shorter hat, you're going to sew from this peak. It's got to be fairly wide, and I would cut probably 15 inches. I know that sounds like a lot, but to get over his arms and stuff, this one is only 14 because of the fabric that I had left of this metallic. So, because it's got to go over his arms down here and his nose. So it's got to be fairly wide. So if you want this silver on the outside, you're going to sew right sides together from this corner down here up to here. Okay? If you want it pink on the outside, you're going to sew right sides together with the pink, but why would you waste your metallic fabric on the inside of your hat? So that's that. So then you're going to, when you get done sewing it, it's going to look like this, and there's your seam. And then you're going to take and turn this right side out. And I usually use my turning tool and kind of poke it through up to the tip. If you can't get your tip out all the way, take a needle, and be careful so you don't poke a hole or rip your fabric, is kind of pull it out. And you can do that with corners if you're making something like pillows or something that you're sewing, and you can take that needle and pull that corner out or that point. So there's his hat. Now we're going to do his arms, and I am going to take you over to the sewing machine and I'll show you how I sewed this, and then I will be right back. Okay, so now we're going to sew. I'm going to show you how I sew my mitten. I traced it. I'll have a pattern linked below. So I traced it, and I just traced it with a pencil. I didn't have one of those like marking pencils or whatever. So you're going to take and you're going to go on the inside of the line that you traced, and you're going to backstitch on in the beginning at the end. And you want to go slow, and you're going to turn your fabric as it's coming around the top of the mitten. And then when you get down to this little point of the thumb, you want to stop. And then you're going to lift up your presser foot so you can turn your fabric so you can sew around the thumb. And you just want to take a couple of stitches and take it really slow. And then you're going to lift your presser foot and turn again. And then maybe take 1 or 2 stitches. And then lift your presser foot up again. And make sure you're getting both pieces of fabric. And then go down, and then you're going to turn it so you can finish going around that thumb. And then come down the side. And then when we get done, we'll cut that out, and it looks like it should be small enough. Work table. So now you're going to take, and I've got the one hand done, and you're going to cut your excess off before you turn it. And when you get down, here's your thumb. Let me cut this and you can kind of see. So there's your thumb. Get you guys a little closer. So you're going to have to cut right down into this, where this point is, that little valley, but don't cut the threads, because you just want to get a little snip in there so you don't have a pucker on your mitten. And then we're going to use pipe cleaners for the arms. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 pipe cleaners and twist them together, and we're going to make for the mitten, so his hand is bendable. So you're going to take and fold it like this. His arm isn't very long, so it doesn't matter up here, but you're going to take, you're just going to have to kind of judge it and play with it, and you're going to bend it so that you can make a thumb. Okay, and then you're going to wrap this around the rest of the pipe cleaner, just like that. And his thumb looks a little short, so it's nice with the pipe cleaner, you can play with it and get it the way you want it. Okay, I was looking for my, you need a piece of quilt batting or just a thin piece of material. Not your fleece, because it'll get too thick in your arm. So you're going to take and put your mitten. You can even fold this down, and you might have to scrunch your pipe cleaner up and put it in. And then make sure you get the thumb of the pipe cleaner in the thumb of the mitten. And then pull that down, and then you're going to tie this off. You can use some of your scrap thread or crochet thread that you've saved, and then cut that off. And then you're just going to glue a little bit inside the mitten. I'm just going to try to pull this a little bit. So you're going to glue in there a little bit just to secure it. And then you're going to run a bead of glue down the edge of this quilt batting, or just a thin piece of fabric. And then you're going to make sure that that mitten is like that. Okay? And then you're just going to roll this over. I'm just going to trim some of this mitten off so it isn't too thick, because that's going to get glued. And you're just going to roll that over once, and then hold it there and put some hot glue, and then finish turning it over and wrap that around. And if you have to glue it a little bit more, which I do, and then we're going to just cut the excess off. And then I will show you how to get it in his arm. And so just cut this off. Careful not to cut his mitten. And then you're going to cut some of that off, because I know his arms are not going to be that long. And so now I sewed a long tube, and it's about 2 1/4 inches wide by 6 inches long. So you're going to turn that right side out. And I have one already done. And you're going to take your needle nose pliers And if you're using ones like this, make sure they're clean. If you're using any kind of your fabric, mine usually don't get greasy. So you're going to take and put your pliers in your sleeve, and you're going to open them up and grab that batting and pull your sleeve down. And the seam on the sleeve is going to line up with the seam on this mitten down here. And then we're going to take some, I've got some pink and some silver, probably like 1/8 inch ribbon, and I got this at Joann's. They have some really pretty ribbon, like the metallic kind. So now you're going to make sure that you have your ribbon on the opposite side as the other hand or mitt. You can, if you don't glue your ribbon, you can just twist it if it's not on the right side. And then I just tie a knot and cut those off. And then we can glue, figure out where you want his arms and see if his arms are going to be long enough. And now you can have his hands bendable and his arms. So we're going to glue it right behind his head, and I'm going to cut some of that excess off. And I'm going to glue a little bit in the arm, and then right on the outside, just about 1 inch first, just to get it tacked down. So right there, and then do your other one, and you want to make sure that they're the same length. So I'm going to cut the little bit off here so I don't have all that bulk in the back. Glue inside the arm, and then put a little glue on the outside. And you got to make sure you know, make sure your thumb is the right way. Thumbs are pointing up, and then make sure that they're the same distance, so one's not longer than the other. And there's his hands. So now we're going to, okay, so we're going to set him aside. We're going to work on his shoes for a minute. So what I did was I have this cardboard tube, and you can get them from like inside of your foil when you're all done with your foil. This one is a little bigger. Some of the ones I think I have gotten with like foil or plastic wrap from the Dollar Tree. A toilet paper roll is going to be too big. You can use, if you have a nice big size dowel rod, you can use that. With these first ones, what I did was I just had rocks that I put in the shoes and filled them up, and they were bigger ones, and covered the rocks with a piece of like fleece, and then just glued that onto the shoe. But this I want it a little taller, so I'm going to put some of these white rocks in the shoe, and I untied it so that I can get that tube in there. And I'm using this one. And these rocks you can get from the dollar store. So what we're first going to do is we're going to, just like we did this one, we're going to cover the top of that tube, just because it's probably going to show with his, after we get him glued onto his body. So you're going to take a little bit of glue. This is white felt. You can use the fleece, but I just decided to use something that was a little thinner. So I put a little bit of glue. And this piece is about 1 3/4 inch long. And it's about 1 inch diameter. So you're going to line it up. This part down here that we're not covering is going to go in the shoe, so we don't have to worry about that. And you're just going to put glue. You can put it on the tube or the felt, and then just wrap that around and cut that excess off, and that is going to be in the back. And then we got some rocks in his toes. We need some weight. and we could probably fit a few more. So these ones are nice and small. The other ones I used were a little bit bigger. So I had to untie it so I could get my tube in here. And you might have to take a few rocks out. And then we're going to put rocks in the tube. And I got a few. I'm just trying to move them around. Okay, I got to take a couple out because they're... So it's got to be small enough to go in the shoe. And these shoes I get at Hobby Lobby in the doll, where the doll supplies are. Okay, there's one rock, and I think it's this big one. So you're just going to take and put it in the shoe and make sure you get it all the way down to the bottom. And then you're going to wipe your glue gun, make sure it's clean, and peel the shoe away and insert glue in there and just keep sliding it all the way around. And then you're going to tie the shoe. So you can tie the laces again. And then I'm going to put some glue. Wipe your glue gun off. I'm going to put some glue right by the tongue and in the front. And squeeze that together. And then we're going to take rocks and we're going to put them inside the tube. And then we're going to cover that up with a piece of the fleece. So make sure that's flat. You can put a piece of cardboard over there too if you want, but we're going to be gluing it, so it's going to kind of level out. So here's a piece that I use. I don't know if I use felt or fleece. We're going to use the fleece. I think I used a different kind of fleece on this other one. It's not as thick as this one. So you can cut your circle a little bigger, and you can always trim it, and then go right around the edge of the cardboard with your glue, and then inside on the rocks. And before you start using your glue gun, if you put your glue sticks in the freezer for a few minutes, that is going to prevent them from getting stringy. And then take that round piece and get that pressed on, and then check and make sure you got all of the edges glued. And if you can lift it up and see it, then just sneak a little bit of glue in there and then cut the excess off. And try to trim it as good as you can. Okay, so we have the shoes, and you got to make sure you get them on the right foot because there is a right and a left. So let's glue his feet on, and then we will work on his arrow and stuff. And I just want to see where I'm going to have to put him. So he's going to kind of go, let's see. And you got to get his feet placed how you want them, in or out. I got to turn him this way, sideways, so I can see. Because you don't want him too far in the back or he's going to fall over. So kind of right in the middle. So get your shoes and get your shoelaces out of the way, and then put glue right on top of the shoe. And it'll probably squeeze out, so don't overdo it. And I'm going to place him about in the middle so that he is steady. And if you see some glue seeping out, you can try to wipe it away. And I have a popsicle stick here. I see some. So if you can catch it before it drips or dries. Okay, so we're gonna let him sit and dry, and we're gonna work on his wings. I will leave the pattern or the link, the video below. This curly fabric I got at Hobby Lobby, I will also link that below. And then the wings will be in the free PDF pattern. So I cut my shape of my wing out. I put glue on the cardboard and the wing, glued it on my fabric, let it dry, cut it out so it was a little bit bigger fabric than the cardboard, glued all that, and put it down on the fabric so it's double-sided. So I will link that. That is in the video for the angel gnome. And then for his eyes, I got these. These are the black, I'm not sure what they're called, but their eyes are from Hobby Lobby, back by the doll section. And they're, I don't know what size millimeter because they're tiny. I have ones that are 10 millimeter that are bigger, but these are the smaller ones. So we're going to use those. So let's put his hat on and see how we're doing. And I just want a little bit of pink peeking out. So I'm gonna flip his hat up and glue the back first. I'm gonna back you guys up. So you're going to put the glue on the hat. I'm just going to tip them forward and hold them not too close to the edge, just in case it seeps out. And I always put it on the hat because you don't know if you're going to get it exactly, if you put glue on the body, if you're going to get the hat exactly down there. And you're going to take and push that down, roll it down, and press it. And I just want a little bit of pink peeking up in the front. So you can kind of roll that up, and then we'll glue the sides. So just be very careful where you're putting your glue. Okay, and we're gonna wait with his wings. Let's see if we can get his eyes in here, because those are a little tricky for me. I'm gonna use tweezers so I can hang on to him. And then he's gonna get a mouth. And see, I have not glued it by the nose yet. And of course, didn't realize. And I'm not cutting these points off because that's going to help it stay in there unless you wanted to. That's totally up to you. Okay, so I like that. So I'm going to take one out. And I'm going to try to insert some glue. And then get the eye in there. And then do the other one. So you got to take it down, lift it up, put the glue farther back. If you put it too far close, it's going to squirt out, because that happened to me. just trying to get his eye. And then I'm going to clean my glue gun off, and I'm going to try and go underneath here and where they are and squirt some glue. And I'm going to try to squirt it in the back. So we're going to let that dry for right now. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways you can make his quiver, and that's where it would hold his arrows. I just made this little pouch. So if you wanted to do that, you're just going to sew a pink and the metallic together, and you're going to sew a circle, and this circle is about 3 3/4, probably 4 with the seam, and you're just going to leave a little opening. And I thought I had one. So this is how it looks, and you're just going to sew. So you're going to leave an opening about 2 inches or so that you can turn it right side out, and then you can just hot glue that seam. If you want to make this one, so you're just going to try to fold these in, and you might have to press them. Just finger press them. And if it's not exactly a round circle, that's okay, because we're going to fold it and it'll be fine. So get that glue in there and press it down. If you see any glue coming, kind of swipe it on, or wipe it off. If you're using a low temp glue gun, I lost my little yellow scissors on the floor. Okay, does anybody else have the same problem as me, losing stuff and it ends up in the garbage? I don't know why it's me, but it seems like it. Okay, so with this one, I wanted the pink on the outside, so then I'm going to fold it. And I have to make sure I need some more glue. So then you would fold it, and then you're going to glue from this back side up to the front. And where we just glued that seam shut, that's going to be the opening of the quiver, so you can put the arrows in there. And you're going to fold it like a taco. And I got a little too much glue at the back side here. So squeeze that together. And then we got a little opening here. I could have left it open a little bit more. So there's that one, and then we're going to glue it on the back. Okay, so really quickly, let's glue his wings on. You're going to go down the middle of the wing, and it doesn't matter what side because they're both the same. And then you're going to put it up so it's up higher so that we can see it. It's going to be on the hat. And let me see. So it's going to go right up about here. And make sure make sure it's centered in the hat, in the middle of the hat. And press it. And then we're just going to leave it. We're going to lay him down so that can dry. And now I'm going to show you the other quiver if you want to make that one. You're going to take a piece of your sheer, or of your metallic, and you're going to need a scrap piece of cardboard and some ribbon. And we're going to decorate the bottom. Where did my silver stuff go? Because I just had it here. Here it is, right in front of me. Okay, so you're going to take, and you're going to have a piece that's probably 1/2 inch, 3/8 of an inch longer on both ends. And you can just take and put hot glue on the tube and just put it right near the edge of the fabric and press it down. And then just go, you can put it right on the tube, right near the top and the bottom, and then roll that and then do it until you get to where you started. And make sure you keep your fabric taut. Is that a word? Taut? Until you get to where you started, and then add some glue so we can close that. If you don't want to buy this, you can look and see if there's any other cheaper fabric. You can use like the foam glitter, foam sheets that are glitter. You could use that too. You could just make the pouch like I did. So I just wanted to do something different, but I thought if there are some people that didn't want to make the pouch and they wanted to make this, this is how I'm making it. And I'm just going to, the one end, I'm just going to cut this off so it's even with my tube. And then we're going to cover the bottom with a piece of scrap cardboard. And the top part, you're going to make little slits. They don't have to be small. 1/2 inch. And then you're just going to take, on those little flaps, you're going to put glue and you're going to tuck that in. And be careful if you're working with the hot glue. I'm working with low temp. And then tuck those in, and then that will kind of finish off the top of our quiver. So now you're going to take the bottom and you're going to put hot glue right on the edge of the cardboard on the quiver. If it runs inside, that's okay, because by the time you get your arrows in there, it's going to be dry. But try not to let it run on the outside. And then place that on a piece of cardboard and let that sit and dry. And then you can cut this off. So we'll let that sit. And I've made his arrows. I got stickers from the Dollar Tree and from Hobby Lobby, but the ones I'm using for the arrows I got at Hobby Lobby, and there's a bunch of different sizes on there. So what I did was, let's see, I took a skewer and I cut it down, depends on how long your quiver is or how tall it is. We could probably go about 3 3/4 inches. I don't like that stick. That's kind of a nasty looking one. So you're going to cut it about, go to about 3 3/4. And you're going to take, I have another sheet. You're going to take a couple of your hearts. You're going to find 2 that are the same size. And hopefully, I'm just going to use big ones because I'm kind of running out. And they're adhesive. And mine have stayed together. I haven't had to hot glue them. And they might have some of these at the Dollar Tree, but these ones I got at Hobby Lobby. So now, let's see if I got one. So find 2 hearts that are the same and put them back to back. And then what you're going to do, you can take a, if you want to use a, we can use our blade here. Let me get you close enough. You're going to take, and you're going to cut. You got to make sure you have a nice sharp blade. You can cut it with the scissors too, which I did. It might be a little easier. You can get a better cut maybe, but it's hard to get down by the stick. And then you're going to cut those like right through the middle of the top of the heart. That sounds terrible. So then we have it like that. Okay, and we don't need to do the bottom. That's just going to go in the quiver. So now take your quiver and cut this cardboard off. And be careful, don't cut all your glue. And then you're going to take, maybe take your smaller scissors and trim up those edges that are hanging over. And we're going to cover that with some ribbon. So I'm kind of looking, it's easier to do it for me from the bottom. And then I'm looking to see from the top if I needed to do any more. Okay, so there we have that. Let me make sure you guys can see. So I did little hearts. And what we're going to do for his bow and arrow, the arrow, is you're going to take, and you can use this one. We're just going to use this. We'll use the bigger one. And then you're going to take a heart. If I have two that are the same. I have to get my other sheets. I have to see if I have two hearts that are the same for the arrow, because I've been using them. So let me check here. How did I do that? So you're going to do it. You're going to put it on the point of the heart, or the point of the skewer. So you're going to have the heart like this. We got to get it centered. So just like that. And I think this is, then you're going to put another one on the other side. And you shouldn't have to hot glue these. I mean, they stick really well. And that's his arrow for that he's going to be holding on to. And now what we're going to finish up our quiver. Let's do that. So what I did was I took a piece of this metallic material, and you're going to take and put hot glue on the bottom of your quiver. Make sure you kind of get it spread out so there's not a big glob. And I got a little bit on the side. And then bring it all the way out through the edges and put it on your material and kind of squish it down. And then that'll flatten it. And then we can let that dry. Okay, I had his bow already done. And I've lost it. I had it on the tray. I had it all ready. Okay, let me pause and see if I can, here it is. Okay, so I got his bow. And the way I did his bow, so I have a piece of this, it's wire, but it's like got paper twisted on it, and it's 6 inches long. And you're gonna just take needle nose pliers and curl the ends in so that they're closed. And you can use, if you wanted to use a pipe cleaner, or if you want to make it out of clay, or however you want to make it. This is what I had, and my paper kind of ripped. So I just got a little bit of hot glue. I'm just going to glue that down. And then you can just bend it a little bit. It's going to be in his hand. And then I took some stretchy cord. It's just cord. So I just took a piece, cut a fairly decent piece, and I'm just going to tie a knot, wrap it, go in through where we just made that little circle, that I don't want to call it a loop. And you're going to tie a knot. Make sure you pull your cord tight. The cording is nice because then it's not going to break on you when you go to pull it. And then do the other side, but you got to make sure you leave it a decent length for the arrow. So you might have to kind of judge if you tie it and not knot it, and test your arrow, but the way we're going to do it is he's just going to hold the arrow, and this is just going to be coming over here. So it's just going to sit there in the little corner, the little V of that heart that we have. So you're going to tie that and then cut your ends off. Don't cut too close to the knot. Okay, and I have a bunch of other arrows already done. So we can put those in there. I thought I had some other ones. There's another one. Well, we got to take those out. We got to cut this bottom off first. So just go around very carefully. Cut the excess off. And we're going to go around, the bottom and the top with ribbon. And then I just put some of the hearts on from the stickers that I had. So trim that off as best you can. And then you're going to take, I took silver ribbon and wrapped it around the bottom, and then the pink. So we're going to take, and you're just going to take your end of your ribbon and put a little bit of glue on it just to get it started. And then start at the seam where you ended with putting the fabric on the tube. And then just take and do a small bead of glue all the way around that very bottom edge. And I'm using clear glue sticks. I get mine from Joann's, and I've tried using some from the Dollar Tree. These are my bigger ones. I don't use my big glue gun a lot, but because you can see the difference in the glue sticks. I've gotten some glue sticks from the Dollar Tree that are yellow. Not good when you're working with white fabric. That's why the clear ones are nice. And if you have a coupon, you can get them on sale. And then always check your remnants when you go into Joann's first. I always tell you guys that. Some of my subscribers have told me they found some good deals. That's what I usually do first. Trim that off. And then take the skinny pink ribbon and do the same thing. You don't have to do this part, but I just wanted to decorate it. And then run that bead of glue right next to that ribbon you just put on. And carefully lay it down and line it up. I tried to do a short video, you guys. I even cut out a lot of stuff. Some people don't mind and some people do, so I'm just kind of stuck in the middle. It's hard for me, I don't know. So okay, and now we're going to take, I got a bigger pink ribbon, and this one, I don't know if I got it at Joann's. I may have gotten it at Hobby Lobby, because they usually always have their ribbon 50% off. Not always, but when they do. Okay, start in the back, and I'm going to go just a titch down from the edge of the quiver so I can just see a little hint of the silver showing. So just wrap that around, and I got some glue seeping out. And then go right back where you started. And trim that off. And I'm just going to take my lighter, which I had, and I'm just going to melt that ribbon just a little bit so it doesn't fray. And there's our quiver. And let's bring him up here. So let me take a quick break so I can figure out how I'm going to get his holding on to his arrow so I'm not wasting time, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So first we're going to wrap some ribbon around his hat, the top of his hat. And if you want it to stand up more, you can stuff it. I got to turn him so I can. But it stands up pretty good with just the using the two fabrics in there, so I didn't stuff it. So I used 2 pieces of the pink ribbon and then 1 silver for the hat. And you could do whatever if you wanted to do something different. And then I have these little pink flowers that I got from Walmart. And I'm going to put these on his shoes. And they are sticker, got little sticky backs, but I'm going to glue them on. And hopefully they'll stay on that plastic part, but we'll get them up there. So these are in with the sewing and their ribbon at Walmart. And then I have this flower. It was like this, and I get these at Hobby Lobby in the wedding section, and I took the pearl off, and I had this piece of jewelry. It wasn't a button, some kind of a rhinestone, and I'm going to put that on his hat. There's a sticker on the back of this. They come in different sizes, and they're in the wedding section at Hobby Lobby. And I glued it on. There was a pearl, so I took the pearl off. And I'm going to glue that on his hat. And then his arrow, right now I was just holding on to it, so I'm going to glue it in his hand. So I cupped his hand around it. I'm going to put it in there. And then fold his hand. And then we're going to take the arrow. And you're just going to put it right there, and then you're going to glue it right by his, where his thumb and his hand is, right in the crook of his thumb there. So just put some glue right there. And you might have to hold it. Until it dries. If you want to press his thumb together, we can try to put a little bit underneath his thumb. Okay, and then I got a bunch of hearts. I got these wooden ones. I think I got some from Dollar Tree and some from Hobby Lobby, and I took some of them and I layered them together. And then I got stickers from the Dollar Tree that had love, 3 different kinds of love in smaller, and then pink and red. So we're going to put this in his hand. Just like that. And he's got a little heart, and I got these, they kind of got a metal back, and I got these ones at Hobby Lobby. So they got some really pretty Valentine decoration out. And we're going to put this right there on his beard. And we have to do his mouth yet. So let me make sure. And then we're going to glue his quiver on. So let's do his mouth so I can show you it. It took me quite a while the first time to do it. And I was using a crochet thread that kind of separated. And the other one I got, it doesn't do that. And I got it at Hobby Lobby, and it's Artiste, and it's a number 8. I will link it below in the description box. So it's really good because it's a thicker, but I didn't want anything too thick, but it doesn't unwind like, you know, like embroidery thread. So you're going to need a pair of pliers. And I need to prop him up or lay him back on something here. Yeah. And I'm going to try to do this. What I would do first is take it, and I'm going to make sure you guys can see, and place it on his beard. And I want it closer up underneath his nose. And see what kind of smile you want him to have. And you can do a bigger piece, however you want to do it. Okay? So I'm going to just cut this a little shorter just to see. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your tweezers and make sure there's no fuzz. And you're going to wipe the tip of your glue gun off. Grab the end of your crochet thread and just run a bead of glue. If you can get one long glue down there, you're doing great. And I got some that's kind of dangling off there. And you got to work quick. And if you mess up, you will be able to take it off, because I did quite a few times. And you got to try not to touch the glue. See, now I got to start over because you can't touch the glue with your fingers. So you're going to get your, and the part that you don't get glue on, we can cut it off. So try to get one good long string, not too thick, and just lay it on there. And place it on his beard, and you got to hurry up and place it where you want it. And press it down, and you might have to like push it onto the glue. And what you can kind of do, you can almost move it around with like his fur. And like these ends, you can leave those on, but you can cut them off. So there he is. Now we're going to get his quiver on and we're going to be done. And I know this is a long video again, and guys, I'm sorry. So what I did was I took the hearts, and I'm trying to debate on which one I want to put on his body. I think I'm going to do this one, and we're just going to glue it right back here. Okay, so it's going to be kind of right on his arm. So right in front of the wing, and you're going to get a really decent amount of glue on there. And then you're going to have to hold it until it dries. That's the big thing sometimes, is we let go too soon, and then we're struggling to get it to stay on there. So you're going to glue that by the seam that we put all the material on the quiver, and you're going to put it right about here, and you're going to hold it. And I got to turn them and see. Okay. It maybe could have went down a little bit more, but it's fine. And then we're going to take all of our arrows and put them in there. And let's see, is he missing anything? I don't think so. Let me clean up and I'll be right back for our closing. So there are my Cupid gnomes. I think they turned out adorable. So if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I will leave a pattern of what I use for like the angel wings, that sort of thing, PDF. And I will leave the supplies on what I used. So there's, you can see the two different quivers that we have. These two have the same thing. So I redid his mouth. This is the one we did, and I redid his mouth. So I was able, once that glue was dry, I could pull it off. Yeah, I pulled a little bit of fur, but not a lot of fur with it. Okay. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to join my crafting community and be a subscriber of my channel. Click on that subscribe button down there, and when you hit the bell, that will notify you each time I upload a new video. If you already have subscribed, thank you. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it so much for subscribing and being a part of my crafting community. If you like what you've seen, click on that like button. That tells me you guys want to see more content like this, and that helps my channel to grow. I will do a one that is a mostly, it's probably gonna be mostly no sew. I'll try to do all hot glue for a Cupid gnome. Okay. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for seeing me today. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.